Is your automatic transmission still shifting, but you feel like something is not the same anymore? Maybe it takes too long to engage drive or reverse. Maybe it kicks when it shifts. Maybe it slips going uphill. Or maybe a warning light suddenly shows up on the dashboard. A lot of people ignore these signs because they think, well, the car still drives, so it's probably fine. But that is the mistake. An automatic transmission almost never fails completely from one day to the next. Most of the time, it gives you warnings first. It shows symptoms. And if you know how to recognize those signs early, you may be able to avoid a very expensive repair. In this video, I'm going to explain the most important warning signs your automatic transmission gives before it fails, what could be causing each symptom, and the possible solutions before the damage gets worse. The first warning sign is when the transmission takes too long to engage drive or reverse. You start the vehicle, press the brake, move the shifter into drive or reverse, and instead of engaging immediately, it takes 1, 2, or even several seconds. Sometimes it engages smoothly, but other times it engages with a hard clunk. This can be caused by low transmission fluid, contaminated fluid, internal pressure loss, a clogged filter, wear inside the valve body, or problems with the internal clutch packs. But the solution is not always to remove or replace the transmission. The first thing you should do is check the fluid level using the correct procedure. Many transmissions must be checked at a specific temperature and with the engine running. You also need to inspect for leaks, check the condition of the fluid, and if the transmission design allows it, replace the filter and fluid using the exact specification recommended by the manufacturer. The second warning sign is harsh shifting. If you feel a hard kick when the transmission shifts from first to second, second to third, or even when it downshifts while slowing down, do not ignore it. That hard shift can be caused by incorrect hydraulic pressure, failing solenoids, a dirty valve body, damaged engine or transmission mounts, speed sensors sending an unstable signal, or even a transmission adaptation problem. In these cases, the correct thing is to scan the transmission control module, check for trouble codes, review live data, check transmission fluid temperature, input speed, output speed, and solenoid commands. Sometimes the solution may be a software update, a relearn procedure, a transmission adaptation reset, cleaning or repairing the valve body, or replacing a faulty solenoid. The third warning sign is transmission slipping. This feels like the engine revs up, but the vehicle does not move with the same power. It can happen when taking off, going uphill, or during a gear change. This is a serious symptom because it can indicate low hydraulic pressure, burned fluid, worn internal clutches, damaged torque converter, or a weak internal transmission pump. If the transmission fluid smells burned or looks very dark, that is a major warning sign. At this point, it is not a good idea to keep driving aggressively because every time the transmission slips, it creates more heat and more internal wear. The solution can range from correcting the fluid level to performing hydraulic pressure tests to confirm whether the problem is external, electronic, hydraulic, or internal. The fourth warning sign is delayed shifting or missing gears. For example, the vehicle stays too long in one gear, refuses to shift to the next gear, or gets stuck in second or third gear. This is often known as limped mode or fail-safe mode. The computer limits the transmission operation to prevent more damage. Possible causes include input or output speed sensors, transmission fluid temperature sensor problems, electrical failures in solenoids, communication issues, low battery voltage, or internal transmission codes. Before condemning the transmission, you should check power supply, grounds, connectors, wiring harness, alternator voltage, and scan tool data. Many transmissions have been replaced when the real problem was only a bad sensor, a corroded wire, or a weak ground connection. The fifth warning sign is noise. A healthy automatic transmission should not whine, grind, scrape, or make metallic knocking sounds. A whining noise that increases with RPM can indicate low fluid level, an internal pump working under stress, a restricted filter, or torque converter problems. A metallic noise can be more serious and may come from internal wear. The first step is to check the fluid level and condition, but you should also inspect the transmission pan for metal debris. A small amount of fine residue can be normal from wear, but large metal pieces or excessive metal shavings are a bad sign. The sixth warning sign is transmission overheating. A lot of people only think about engine temperature, but the transmission also works within a specific temperature range. If the transmission fluid gets too hot, it loses lubrication, loses pressure, and starts damaging seals, clutch discs, and internal components. Overheating can be caused by a clogged radiator, a restricted transmission cooler, cooling fans not working properly, incorrect fluid, towing too much weight, or driving constantly in heavy traffic. The solution is to inspect the cooling system, transmission cooler lines, real transmission fluid temperature with a scan tool, and always use the correct fluid recommended by the manufacturer. The seventh warning sign is a transmission fluid leak. Sometimes the leak looks small, just a few drops on the ground, but over time the fluid level drops and the transmission starts operating without the correct pressure. Leaks can come from the transmission pan, axle seals, cooler lines, electrical connector, torque converter seal, or even the transmission vent. The solution is not just adding more fluid. You need to find the leak, repair it, then adjust the fluid level correctly. Driving with low transmission fluid can turn a simple repair into a completely damaged transmission. The eighth warning sign is a burnt smell. That smell can come from overheated transmission fluid. When the fluid burns, it changes color, loses its properties, and stops protecting internal components. At this point, a simple fluid change doesn't always fix the problem, but it can help with the diagnosis. If the fluid comes out black, smells very strong, and contains friction material, there may be already internal wear. The right thing to do is diagnose the transmission, not just change the fluid and hope for a miracle. The ninth warning sign is vibration or shudder when accelerating lightly. Many times this is felt between 40 and 60 miles per hour, almost like driving over a rough road or rumble strips. This can be related to the torque converter, especially the lockup clutch, but it can also be caused by engine mounts, axles, spark plugs, misfires, or other engine problems, so proper diagnosis is very important. If the vibration happens exactly when the transmission applies the torque converter lockup, it may require a fluid change, a software update, or torque converter repair. So, what should you do when these warning signs appear? First, do not keep driving like nothing is wrong. Second, check the transmission fluid level, color, and smell. Third, scan both the engine and transmission modules with a tool that can read live data. Fourth, inspect connectors, grounds, battery voltage, and alternator output. Fifth, confirm whether the failure is electrical, hydraulic, mechanical, or software related. And most importantly, don't replace parts randomly. An automatic transmission can give you warnings long before it fails completely. The problem is that many drivers hear the clunk, feel the slipping, see the leak, and keep driving until the vehicle no longer moves. If you catch the problem early, you may be able to save the transmission, or at least prevent the repair from becoming much more expensive. Now, tell me in the comments, has your automatic transmission ever shifted hard, slipped, delayed going into reverse, or left you stranded? I'll be reading your comments to see what symptoms your vehicle has. And if you want to learn how to diagnose sensors, solenoids, electrical failures, and transmission problems step by step, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because here we'll keep doing real tests and professional diagnostics.